The Yasuní National Park is the most biodiverse forest on Earth. It is located in Ecuador, at the northwestern edge of the Amazon basin, and was declared by UNESCO a World Biosphere Reserve in 1989. In it live the Taguari and the Taramanani, two of the last indigenous communities in voluntary isolation, together with over 1,300 species of mammals, amphibians, reptiles, birds, fish, and more than 100,000 species of insects. Only 1 hectare in Yasuní has as many as 655 tree species, more than all of the US and Canada combined. But the Yasuní is not only rich in biodiversity, its wealth also lies underground. The ITT, an oil extraction block within the park, holds 850 million barrels of crude, which represent 20% of Ecuador's reserves. Being an oil-dependent economy, Ecuador needs income from this resource for investments in health, education and energy. Financial requirements are already pressing for the extraction of oil under the Yasuní, posing a major threat to this fragile ecosystem. Habitat could suffer through soil contamination or by the opening of this area to urbanization and deforestation through the building of roads. Even if precautions are taken, history shows that degradation of the forest is inevitable. But is it really inevitable? Not necessarily. There is a way to keep oil underground. 850 million barrels of oil are worth $7 billion. When consumed, this oil would release 407 million metric tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. This amount of CO2 has now a value of $7.2 billion in the carbon market. Currently, the cap-and-trade mechanism employed in industrialized nations only considers already emitted CO2 as tradable carbon credits. The Yasuní ITT initiative proposes keeping oil untapped and trading its value as non-emitted CO2 within the voluntary carbon market, therefore generating income enough to relieve the need for extraction in the Yasuní. These funds, managed and guaranteed by an international body, would then be invested in a long-term development plan which includes changing Ecuador's energy matrix from oil to hydroelectrical, geothermal, solar and biomass, recovering and reforesting 1 million hectares of forest, and protecting 40 natural reserves and indigenous territories, which represent 36% of Ecuador, a world conservation record. Through this development plan, 820 million tonnes of CO2 would be additionally mitigated during the next 20 years, adding to more than 1.2 billion tonnes when including the avoided emissions of oil kept underground. Just imagine the amount of prevented emissions and forest preservation that could be achieved if this model was applied to other biodiversity hotspots that face oil extraction. The Yasuní ITT initiative can be the cornerstone of an effective and realistic mechanism to protect fragile ecosystems and mitigate climate change. Shift the paradigm. Conservation is not a luxury. Conservation is a resource.